Peace. Red Line ESV back for another one. Welcome to the Lion Share Podcast. And this one here is the man in the middle versus the man on the couch. Plantation politics and sexual politics. Shout out to Edward Anderson, man. You definitely, I don't know if you coined that term, but I think you're the last person I heard use it, so that's what I'm going to roll with. Now, this video I've been sitting on for a long, long time. I think I've probably recorded it 3 or 4 times, couldn't get it right. But yo, let's jump right in. Let's unpack this, right? So a lot of times what we have is, where do I start? Where do I start? Okay, boom. Let's start with the man on the couch. All right. The hobosexual, if you will. Been in those shoes before. And I will be the first to tell you, fellas, that is not a place you belong. I didn't belong there, but bad decisions, health issues, etc. Ended up being the man on the couch. Not working. You're dealing with a certain class of women that is definitely happy that you're the man on the couch, whether they want to make you a babysitter, maybe they want you to handle some things around the house, do domestic stuff. Me personally, I'm a pretty good cook. It's not the most masculine skill, but I'll definitely put that out there, fellas. If you can cook, especially in this economic environment, it'll save you a lot of money, man. Crock pot, George Foreman grill, a good cast iron skillet. Trust me, it'll save your life, bro. But that's another video. But the man on the couch, believe it or not, that's where you get a lot of the pushback when you start to talk about, the sisters and, the way you're treated, et cetera, et cetera. Because as it relates to sexual, I guess you want to say sexual politicking, the man on the couch, he can typically get first dibs. You know what I mean? He's basically a male prostitute. He's having sex for a place to stay, which like I said, I've been there before. So you're gonna get the box. First and foremost, you're gonna get the box. You're gonna get some lubrication, so to speak. But that's about all you're gonna get, because you're not gonna get any respect. That's for certain. And I will be the first to tell you, fellas, especially if you've been in these shoes before, like I know, it goes real quick from this is our house and this is our home to this is my house, my stuff, you can get out. Those tables turn quick. They turn quick. But when you look at some of the nuances that comes with being the man on the couch, when it comes to the sisters, and I don't know if that's misplaced motherly instinct. I don't know if that's the term I want to use, but that's what happens a lot of times. They consider it love. I'm helping you in your time of need. I'm loving on you the way a mother loves on a child. If you need anything, if you need clothes, I'll buy you a game system. And this happened to me, and I'm not even a video game guy. I've had women, I'll get you a PlayStation, or I'll get you an Xbox, and you're kind of down on your luck, etc., etc. They were willing for me to play that role. And I think a lot of sisters are comfortable being in that position of power, because that's what it is, a position of power. They can pretty much tell you what to do and what not to do. And I've been down on my luck quite a few times, so I've had quite a few women who are comfortable with me being in that spot. They bought me clothes, they put money in my pocket. I wasn't working. Hey, you're stressed out, you don't have a car. Hey, let's, take this trip out of town, or this trip, at this timeshare, whatever the case may be. And it was fun. It was fun. But the second, and I literally mean the second, I started to get my life together, get a decent, get a halfway decent job, or a job that pays bi-weekly, I was able to get my own vehicle, those dynamics change. Because now I'm not waiting to be picked up. I have my own vehicle. Now I don't have to be drug around like a child to a place that I don't want to go, because I can pick and choose what I want to deal with and for what amount of time I'm going to deal with it. It's nice that you buy me things, but now that I have my own money, I can buy my own things. You can't bribe me. And as it relates to the sex thing, it's like, you know what? I got a headache. You know what I mean? I got a headache. Why don't you just hold me? Why don't we talk anymore? You know what I mean? Role reversal. I feel like a piece of meat. Why do you treat me this way? Eddie, you treat me like animal. You know what I'm saying? But to get away from the jokes and get back on topic, when you start to talk about the nuances, the reason why there's such a soft spot for the sisters is, to a degree, those will be your first helpers. I'll be the first to say this. The only reason I have my driver's license is because a sister looked out. And, typical sister, shout out to, Southeast and Northeast DC. She definitely looked out when she did not have to. We had to finagle some things, but, typical, single mother, got the little kangaroo pouch and everything, probably was, you know the type, man. Short, you know what I mean? I'm not going to say, thick, tradition, what we call thick, you know what I mean? Little belly pudge or whatever. But, after 5 to 7 kids, she looks the way she looks. But she definitely looked out. My first start in security where, it's not necessarily a glamorous job. It's above minimum wage, obviously. But it was a sister that put me on, like, damn near like Players Club. Hey, you want to make some money? And the way I was living, I'm like, yo, bet. I'm tired of doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to, go into particulars, but it was a sister that put me on, Army sister. Let's say her name was Miss D. Solid. I don't know whether she was into women, men. It's none of my concern. But she definitely looked out. And she definitely put me in a position to do a lot of overtime as a young man, working 72 hours, 80 hours a week. I was scraping them. That's probably that's what kept me out of trouble, honestly. But when you have those dynamics, when it's somebody, like a brother polite, where, a woman allowed you to sit on her couch and, get your life together or give you a place to stay or give you a plate of food, it's difficult. It's going to be difficult to disparage somebody who puts you in those types of positions. But the thing is, as it relates to, sexual politics, everyone is not getting the same access to the same woman. And as I've stated before, those women with that, I want to say that misplaced motherly instinct, it's almost like they're looking for someone who is damaged so that they can, hold power over the situation. And even if it isn't their intent to hold power over the situation, which I believe a lot of times it is, even if it isn't their intent, that's what they're looking for. They are looking for someone who is in an uncomfortable position so that they can get what they want out of the deal, 9 times out of 10, power. So that is why when you talk to some of these simpletons, that's all they can think of. Mama, grandmama, auntie. Who's going to let me trap out of the house? It's going to be those people. Who's going to let me do whatever it is I want to do streetwise and not hold me to any sort of account? Typically, it's going to be a woman in their life. Who's going to hold drugs for me? Who's going to hold a gun for me? Typically, a woman's going to do that for you. So, of course, you're going to lean on that. And that's why a lot of your rappers, athletes, entertainers, a lot of them are a bunch of punk mama's boys. Point blank, period. And I can relate to that because I went through the whole son-husband thing. I know what that's like. I know what that subtle and even overt manipulation looks like. And that is why you have what you have with the man on the couch. You're basically getting room and board. Why would you go against that? Why would you go against the person that is providing for you? Now, as for the man in the middle, I've also played this position too, and this is more recent. And that is when you get a lot of this tug of war where they go, oh, you just don't like women, you're angry, you don't get the same, the same, quote unquote sexual access. And that is accurate because the man in the middle, if you want to be technical, that is the person that is, I would say, one of the louder voices in the manosphere is, you know, the person that makes, the average or slightly above average salary, maybe of average or shorter height. And it's just overall probably just an okay guy. I won't use the term nice guy. Oh, I'm a nice guy. And, I don't know why these women. It's not really the case. You just chilling. I've been there before. And that is, how I can speak on it, so passionately. I've been in these shoes. You're like, wait a minute. Okay, bet. Let's look at the stereotypes. Okay, I got a job, I got my own vehicle, I got my own place. I'm not expecting people, you know what I mean? I'm not expecting chicks to do monkey double backflips, you know what I'm saying? Up off me and all that. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams. You know what I mean? I'm not getting that sort of treatment. But being as though I'm not a statistic. I'm in my 30s, I don't have children. What's the holdup? Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to get lubrication from every, female interaction that I have, but it's like, okay, if I'm not a stereotype, what's the problem? And that's when you start to notice the dynamics. It's a very, that 80-20 rule can really be a real thing. Now, do I get access? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's not the caliber and the quality of person. So it becomes a head scratcher. It's like, wait a minute, I got more love being, a baggy pant wearing hoodlum. I can attest to that as well as a knucklehead. So I know what that looks like. The quote unquote select, non-select. I know what it feels like to be select. I know what it feels like when you like, damn, I can't miss. I'm Steph Curry shooting out the gym. I can't miss. You know I did with your sister, right? Yeah, that's cool. You know what I mean? Sitting there, I got one woman laying on my chest. That's my love. I'm looking down. I'm like, damn, look down. I got her cousin tickling my feet. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, let me push you off of me real quick. Go talk to your cousin. My cousin, like, where the party at? I'm sitting there, I don't know nothing about no parties. I don't know nothing about nothing. In the back of my mind, I'm like, yo, I could slide this one and her. So I'm sitting there, damn, I got my love here, got two cousins over here. You know what I mean? I can't miss. You know what I mean? Straight up and down, been there, can't miss. And then you look at what adulthood is, and it's like, okay, well, cool. I don't have Peter Pan syndrome, so I don't want to constantly be young. That's kind of goofy. I'm not going to continue to conduct myself and dress like an adolescent, so this isn't working. Oh, I get it. You want me to remain in a state of arrested development. You want me to continue to not have anything in order to deal with a certain class or certain type of woman. And it may sound like complaints, like, well, just choose better. I'll be the first to tell you, if you're dealing strictly with the sisters, depending on what your section is in the United States, you're going to get some varying degree of BS. There's just no dodging it because they have their own preferences and they suffer from Peter Pan syndrome. I won't use what is it? Shout out to Black Mom when he says, hybristophilia, you know what I mean? That that desire for you to be overly violent. He's not lying. I've been there before. Been there before. It's like, oh, okay, cool. You want me to go upside this dude's head because he's looking wrong. You do realize I'm over the age of 18 and I have no felonies to burn, right? In the past, you do something stupid. It's like, okay, slap on the wrist, maybe, what I mean, get a fine or something, going about your business. Now that I'm an adult and I have no felonies to burn, this has to be a life and death situation for me to have to put someone else in a life and death situation. But all in all, this is really what some of the clash is. Everyone, I think, what is it? Usher and R. Kelly had that song, Same Girl, and that's really what it is. A lot of men are typically angling for the same girl. We want that ubiquitous Coke bottle frame. You know what I mean? You may want, the pretty face and, basically someone who has some business about themselves. And that's what all men want. You want to be treated fairly. I mean, we're not necessarily looking to be worshipped, but you want to be treated fairly. You want the same acts, similar or the same access, and somebody who's appealing to look at. Now, whether that's for one night or whether you want that longevity, either or, we're all basically angling for the same things. But the tug of war really is the man, the man on the couch versus the man in the middle. Now, obviously, if you're, higher up on the totem pole, whether that's attention or whether that's finances, you're going to have access to better women. So yes, you should aim to be the best version of yourself. However, if me or any black man that's out there or man specifically is being the best version of himself, covering, all across the board, checking all the boxes, you would want to believe that you're going to get much better than what you're getting. And that really, depending on who you are, is really not the case. Even when you talk about, game and self-improvement, what exactly are you gaining for all the game that you have and you self-improving? What are you really gaining? If you could be a bum and you get the same access as, the 6-7 figure dude, like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, why do it? Why am I going to self-improve to get the same access as everyone else? It's goofy. Anywhere else, and this will probably be another video I do, for the culture. I did my own little social experiment, but I'll be the first to tell you, You're not treated the same way in non-westernized countries. When you're productive, you get the best and brightest. And you can actually, not necessarily demand, but you can definitely pick and choose. You get the pick of the litter because you are productive. Now, obviously, I can definitely lose some weight. Don't get it twisted. I'm a big dude, big boy and all that. But in the same token, if I'm just an upright, decent individual, I got a decent knuckle game, I'm making above average, 40,000 is average. I make above 40,000. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, I should get better than what the heck I'm getting. This isn't fair. Now, don't get it twisted. Life isn't fair. But when you look about the table scraps, you look around and you look at the table scraps that you're supposed to be getting, even if you're a big girl lover, you're like, oh, I like big girls, I like them thick, this, that, and the third. That's cool too. I mean, people are going to clown you. But at the end of the day, you're not going to tell me Lizzo is more attractive than Amara La Negra. It doesn't compute. And don't get it twisted. Lizzo is not necessarily ugly in the face, but she's big. And the women that follow after her have the same entitled, spoiled, obnoxious attitude. And this is what the average man has to deal with. Meanwhile, if you go overseas, you're talking about people who don't wear over a large t-shirt. And they're cultured, not just to be feminine and traditional. They're just overall more cooperative. Why would you stay here to fight with some dude on the couch? But I'm gonna wrap this up. This is normally a lot longer than I go, man. Red Lion ESV, as always, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And man, I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one, man. Peace and love.